following video contains spoilers for pretty much all of Game of Thrones, Infamous 1, 2, and Infamous Second Son, Mass Effect, and a little bit of the Outer Worlds. Moral choices have always interested me. Maybe it's just how the grey, ambiguous nature of these things could turn a character deemed evil or good into something much less clear-cut. For instance, let's take a look at HBO's Game of Thrones. Yeah, I know you all hated the ending and it ruins the series or whatever, but you have to admit that George R.R. Martin's fantasy series has some damn good writing. Take for instance Jaime Lannister. At the start of the series, he's a dick. He's no qualms about murdering anyone, cripples Bran, sleeps with his sister who's a married woman and his sister. Please stop doing this, Hollywood. He's also a rapist, elitist, and backstabber in the literal sense. In any game with a moral choice-based system, Jaime would fall squarely into evil renegade camp. This, of course, would lock him out of relationships with those in the Paragon side of things, right? Wrong. Because one of Jaime's best pairings and a real source of turmoil for him is that of his relationship with Brienne of Tarth. Brienne is the closest thing Game of Thrones has to a lawful good character. She's noble, loyal, kind, and upholds any vow she makes to the best of her ability, and as such she usually falls in with crowds that share these traits. In games like Mass Effect or Infamous, Jaime's actions would lock him out of interactions with Brienne, as his renegade meter is almost maxed out, due to the aforementioned child crippling. However, Jaime and Brienne find common ground in kinship. While our opinions of Jaime are informed by his wider known wrongdoings at first, his actions towards her of kindness, empathy, mutual respect, and a knightly code give Brienne a more intimate and contradictory view of Jaime to that of the mainstream view of him. You know, like in reality. Have you ever known someone everyone hates and they seem standoffish or just a prick in general, and yet really cool people like them? Yeah, that's probably because they aren't 100% a prick to these people. How can this be applied to video games though? How can you create a system in which you can do bad things, but not be classified as a villain? Stop me if you've heard this one before. A video game protagonist walks into a perilous situation. Usually something along the lines of, "We have your love interest and or family in a bus full of kids. Choose one and let the others die." This relates to the classic trolley problem that's best exemplified by the Netflix show The Good Place.
You are driving a trolley when the brakes fail, and on the track ahead of you are 5 workmen that you will run over. Now, you can steer to another track, but on that track is 1 person you would kill instead of the 5. What do you do?
Notice how the moral conundrum is heightened by the fact that the single person on the tracks is a loved one. Ideally, this should make the issue a little hard to wrestle with. On the one hand, they are innocent people, but on the other hand, she's the lady you live with. Now here's where video games come in and ruin this with a moral choice system, usually signified by the colour blue and red, and given weird ass names depending on the game. By their very nature, moral choice systems completely undermine themselves by assigning choices into the camps of good or bad with no in-between. There's a line I love in Egoraptor sequelitis for Ocarina of Time.
The more specific you get about situations analogous to reality, the more you have to stipulate on.
Now, did I just quote this because my guilt about ripping off Aaron's format has finally caught up to me? Yes, but also no. While the original point was in reference to the conversion of 2D mechanics to 3D mechanics, it can be applied to pretty much any aspect of game design that is trying to compare to reality and make situations more real. Let's look at our moral choice systems. When was the last time you, in reality, saw choices color-coded to red or blue? Unless you have a really weird case of selective color blindness, I can probably say this never happens to you. That aside, in life we are presented with good choices and bad choices. For instance, it's kind of shitty to murder people, so you shouldn't do that. Surprise, surprise. But there are other times in life where choices aren't so cut and dry. For instance, what if that person was a crazy lunatic comparable to the Joker? Someone with no remorse or empathy that was unwilling to change and reveled in chaos. What if you could kill that person before they did something that would harm thousands? Now the idea of murder isn't so clear, because we aren't examining it as a single action, but the start in a chain. While I could easily debate moral objectivism versus realism, that's a topic for someone far smarter and well more adjusted than me. For now, let's just agree that choices in life are rarely easy to differentiate between, like, the colours red and blue. So before I was touching on the big climactic choice in Infamous 1, where Cole has to choose between saving a bunch of doctors or just his girlfriend. Now, in reality, this would be a pretty hard choice to make, but Infamous forces you to play either as a hero or a villain, which really undercuts the potential complexity of the moment. The first reason it does this is because no matter what you do, Trish, your girlfriend, dies. Choose to save her, Trish and all the doctors die. Choose to save the docs, Trish has now been teleported to the other building. This sucks because the moment could work if Trish lives. Say for instance, she's always with the group of doctors and you save them. Cole makes the more beneficial choice, but maybe Trish feels a bit conflicted that Cole chose 6 strangers over her. Maybe she feels weird being used as a pawn to get to Cole and leaves him anyway. Maybe she feels terrible that an innocent woman was killed in her stead when she was totally ready to die. But let's switch gears and say you save Trish and only her, as if she really was the only one in the other building. Yeah, she can be horrified by Cole's actions and leave him, but let's say this is the first evil choice you've made. Now, the whole city turns against you. They've completely forgotten all your hard work and sacrifice. Maybe Cole now sees how pointless it is to help others, or maybe he feels ashamed of himself for his moment of weakness and doubles his efforts to save Empire City. How would this work in a binary moral choice system? Answer, it wouldn't. But it still works in a choice-based system that offers these conundrums. By removing the red and blue choices, the game falls into an area of grey where potentially any choice can have lasting consequences. The idea that this could be a turning point for your playthrough still could work. If you played evil up until now, maybe Trish's last words will get you to play more altruistically. Or maybe you realize there's no benefit to the hero path and say fuck it. The interesting thing about this change is it could make you, the player, think and ponder your actions. And it wouldn't be the game wagging its finger because that was naughty. It would be you deriving that from your own actions and punishing yourself for it. That's another thing with these moral choice systems and how they punish you for playing the bad guy way. Like, why make it an option if it's not the right way to play? And heck, Infamous 2 basically says the right way to play is the blue path, as that's the canon ending. So clearly the developers consider one form of play legit and the other a bad option. But this is the only way to make a game with choices, is to actively punish the player. Not really, because games before Infamous were doing moral consequence in interesting, non-punishing ways years ago. The original Half-Life allows you to kill innocent NPCs and rewards you by giving you access to the pistol early because of it. But if you actively save the NPCs, later on they give you access to a storeroom full of equipment. Halo 1 has Cortana get upset if Master Chief fails to save the Marines, which motivates you to play better so as to not upset your computer waifu. But these are small examples. What about something more substantial? I feel like I've really bashed Mass Effect in like 2 of my videos, and that's fucked because Mass Effect is one of my favourite series. I even love the bad one. In all honesty, Mass Effect 1 makes pretty good strides in making you question your choices. The classic example I could talk about is Ashley versus Caden, where there is no right option and you just have to choose which of your team you leave to die. The problem is, it's only really a hard choice if you lie to yourself and say Caden is as good as Ash. No, the choice I want to talk about is the Rachni Queen.
Yes, Queen.
So you and the crew knock up to this ice planet looking for Liara's mom, and after a few firefights in box rooms, these weird spider aliens start spitting acid, which is way more hurtful than bars on any diss track. You fight through them, euthanize the mindless monsters, find Benezia, and have another firefight in a box room. I swear I actually do like these games, and find a Rachni Queen in a pod. Now at this point your crew is like,
Kill him!
In their defense, the Rachni almost destroyed the galaxy last time and can control people's minds, so chances are strong this queen may try again. However, the queen makes a compelling case as she doesn't attack Shepard, isn't mad about you killing the feral Rachni, and is pretty much begging for her life. Also, call me old-fashioned, but I don't think the answer to any situation is genocide. The best thing about this is your crew is totally unsure about the choice to let the Rachni go. And if you do let the queen go, the plotline is only really resolved in Mass Effect 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh my god, you fat Irish. Just talk about the outer words or kill yourself. Unsubscribe.
The Outer Worlds is a sci-fi RPG developed by Obsidian, with the masterminds behind the first 2 Fallout games. It perfectly captures this dynamic morality, and it does it all in the first hours of the game. Here you pick up your first 2 companions, Vicar Max and Parvati. These 2 are great point of view characters, as they are polar opposites. Parvati is kind and friendly with the love of the town, and Max is, well, he's a bit of a dick. To be fair, he's more of a no-nonsense realist, but he's about as approachable as a cactus. But how is this game so good with its dynamic morality? There's this one mission where the town overseer Reed asks you to return some villagers who left town after being worked to death, literally in Parvati's dad's case. The rub is this separate settlement is actually doing alright, so the choices those who deserted the town returning of their own free will are slim, if any. Coupled with the fact that this settlement has a power converter you need, so it's part of the critical path, means it's unavoidable. So you have a few options with how to deal with this quest here. You could go to the energy plant and never deal with the settlement at all and just collect your EXP, or you can do a little digging. You see, unlike Edgewater, this separate settlement has cultivated crops, something thought impossible. Their leader Adelaide is also more flexible in her thinking, and willing to use methods that are unconventional to ensure survival. Couple that with her being elected by the people rather than the corporation that runs the town, and you may start to question why the Overseer is in charge and not her. However, if you start to think about it, this settlement isn't as self-sufficient as she may lead you to think. For one, she's reliant on Edgewater's power generators, and the only way she succeeded in growing crops was by using corpses as fertilizers. A fact she keeps to herself, mind you. On top of all this, while Reed may be working the town to the bone and is stubborn, Adelaide is emotionally manipulative. So now we have one town leader who's running his town into the ground, and another leader who's lying to and manipulating people. You feel conflicted yet?
Whoa, this is heavy.
After chatting to the settlement leaders and occupants, I returned to Edgewater Overseer, and with my dialogue skills, I was able to convince him that I could get everyone to return peacefully. But how did I do this? I shut down the power to the settlement, effectively condemning it. However, I now had a chance. With no option, Adelaide has to return to town, but she won't go with Reed still there. Beggars can be choosers after all. So I decided to deal with Reed. After convincing him of Adelaide's ability to grow crops, he opts to step aside, despite the fact it probably means his death. Because of her, now Edgewater will thrive. However, the new Overseer is taking corpses of the town's dead relatives and using them as fertilizer without them knowing. That she now thinks I'm a thug who manipulated everything, and she even pays me off so as to not owe me anything. The utter shame and disgust Adelaide has for me makes me wonder if I should have bothered getting involved. If it really was for the best, or if Reed was the better choice, at least he was honest. That, my friends, is what a good moral quandary should always do. Never is there a right answer, only what ifs once you're done. The best thing is this quest only affects my standing with the town, not other settlements or other individuals. Each one allows me to wear the face I need to approach various situations. Video games potentially allow for the greatest exploration of morality due to them asking players to take an active role, but to use a moral choice system flies in the face of that potential, and stops that gameplay experience from being something truly great and thought-provoking. But then again, what do I know? I'm a serial killer! Hey all, Kevin here. Thanks for sticking around and watching the video. I really appreciate it, and I know there's a lot more of you now than there was last time, so I really want to thank everybody for subscribing and liking and watching all my videos. I really do appreciate it. So I thought, why not save these ends of the videos to chat with you guys. Maybe, you give me some recommendations on games you think had really good moral systems. I try to reply to everybody's comments as soon as I can, but with a full Monday to Friday 9 to 5 it can be a bit hard, and it can even be hard to do these videos. But like I said, I really do appreciate you guys watching them. It means a lot, and I just want to give a special shout out to my buddy Michael, who really helped me get my ass in gear and do this video, and I think it came together pretty well. But if you want more, just subscribe, like this video, share it around, tell me what you want to see more of. And hey, if you disagree, that's cool too. Leave it in the comments, open a discussion, maybe share an open mouth kiss with me. I don't know. We'll just hash it out, man. You can also check out some of my other videos. I did one kind of similar to this on the illusion of choice in BioShock, and a few other videos here and there. I might just leave a playlist, that might be easier. But yeah, thanks for checking out this video, and hopefully stick around for the next one. Thanks, guys.